رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Asalamoalaikum everyone, my name is Dr. Abdurrahman Oman, and I posted about the USMLE guidance session in different Facebook forums, and I invited all of you to join the WhatsApp group. Originally we were supposed to have the session on Zoom, but due to internet instability and some network issues, I decided to record these videos so that people who joined the session or people who are not able to join the session can get all of the information. So I'm a final year medical student, and the PowerPoint that you can see, I'll share it as well in the videos and in the group as well. I'm a final year medical student from Sahara Medical College, and I passed step 1 in 4th year. I started preparing for it in April 2023, and I appeared for the exam in October 2023. So it took me 7 months. So starting off with, what is USMLE? USMLE stands for United States Medical Licensing Exam. It has 3 parts: step 1, step 2, and step 3. Now step 1 and step 2 are conducted in different countries. It is also conducted in USA and Canada, but you can also give it in your home country. And as far as step 3 is concerned, you have to take step 3 in America. The step 1 exam is pass-fail, and when COVID season occurred, then this exam used to be in marks, like there were marks on it. But when COVID occurred, the system was changed and this exam was converted to just pass and fail. So you don't have to worry about the scores in step 1, whereas step 2 and step 3 are still scored. Now moving ahead, what is ECFMG? ECFMG stands for Educational Commission for Foreign Medical Graduates, us people who do not belong to America. And this is actually the examining body. This is the site, this is the organization where you actually make your account and you log in, you get registered, and you apply for the exam, you book the exam. This is the exam where your results will be announced, and it is the examining body, and it also verifies that whether you're a medical student or a graduate. Okay, so this was about ECFMG. Now talking about eligibility. Eligibility can be divided into 2 aspects. One is the time, and other is your institute. Now talking about time, you are eligible to take step 1 and step 2 after you have passed first 2 years of medical school. And talking about the university, your university or your institute, your medical school should be recognized by WDOM. It should be listed in the WDOM. Now WDOM stands for World Directory of Medical Schools. I'll share the link for it in the description of this video. You can go and search your medical school, and you're eligible only if your medical school or your institute is listed in that list. And secondly, there is something called sponsor notes as well. You also have to check the sponsor notes on that WDOM list, whether the sponsor notes of ECFMG are present over there or not. So this was something about eligibility. Now talk about eligibility for the students. I just as I said, that you have to pass first two years of your medical school. Now this is how your exam hall looks like when you take the exam. You can see this is a computer-based exam. You don't have to write on paper, and it is talking about step 1, completely an MCQ based exam. There are no SEQs, there are no essay questions, there are only multiple choice questions. So this is how the exam center looks like. You know, there are different compartments, and each candidate has his chair and a CPU. You get to use headphones, you have a screen, and you're being watched. At every compartment there is a camera through which you're being constantly watched, and there is also a window on the other end of this exam hall where There are invigilators who are constantly observing every student and their activities. So now the exam pattern. This is an 8-hour exam, 8-hour long exam, in which there is a 45-minute break and a 15-minute for tutorial. The rest 7 hours are for the blocks. There are 7 blocks, and in each block there are 40 MCQs, 40 questions that you have to solve. So there is 1 hour for each block. So if we do the calculation, you'll be getting 1.5 minutes or 90 seconds for each question. Okay, now talking about, so if you calculate it and you calculate all of the questions, there are 280 questions in total. And in order to pass the exam, you need to at least mark 196 questions correctly in order to pass the exam. And other than that, I also want to talk about how you're going to take the exam. Like as I said, this is a computer-based exam. If you go to USMLE website, I'll share the link for that as well. They have given a tutorial of how the system actually works, how the blocks are divided, and how you engage with the system, how you mark your questions, how you mark your answers. Okay, I'll share the link, and I highly emphasize that you should go and try that. For now, I'll tell you briefly things that how it works. As I said, there is 1 hour for each block. Okay, and you have to attempt 40 questions in that block, and you can change your answers while you're in the block. For example, if you attempted question 1, question 2, question 3, and now you're on question 20, you can go back to question 2, question 3, and you can change your answers. And once you have completed the block, you end the block is now locked. You cannot have access to block anymore. Now you're in the next block, so you cannot go back into the previous block. So here's one thing. And the second thing I want to talk about is the break. As I said, there is a 45-minute break, and the 15-minute tutorial. What people do is that they skip the tutorial, the 15-minute tutorial, and those 15 minutes are included in the break now. So 15 plus 45 gets you a 1 hour, 1 complete hour of break. Now there is the break is like, it's your choice how you spend it. It's not like there is gonna be a bell ring and then the break's gonna start. It's not like that. It's just like you see you're gonna get your 60 minutes, and you can spend it the way you like, the quantity you like. For example, if you've done a block and you can take a break, you can take it as much as you want. You can take a 5-minute break, a 20-minute break, a 30-minute break. It's completely up to you. It's just like currency. You just like have $60 and you can spend it the way you want. Now moving ahead, this I've shared the center where I took the exam. I took the exam in Lahore, Pakistan, FC College. This is the map. I'll share it with you as well. So you enter the building, and then there is checking all of your equipment, your bags, your stuff is checked. You have to remove all of your jewelry, your watch and everything, and you have to put it in a locker, which is assigned to you, and you have the key. You get to have the key, and then you enter the building where there is a waiting area and the exam hall itself. So what you can do is, during the breaks, you can exit the exam hall and you can go into the waiting area, and where you can have your snacks, or you can have water, or you can use the toilet. So this is how you can spend the break, because this is a very long exam. 8 hours is a long time. You have to take different snacks and drinks along with yourself in the exam center. Moving ahead with a common question that people ask, that this exam is difficult, or people fail this exam. So here I've shared some statistics. I've taken the screenshot from First Aid, USMLE First Aid book. I'll talk about that as well. So you can see that here is the statistics of 2022 and 2021. You can see that international medical graduates, the first test takers, around 12,000 candidates appear, and the passing percentage is 87%. And for 2021, around 17,000 candidates appear, and 82% is the passing rate. So this, I believe, is the answer to the question whether people pass or fail this exam. You can see the passing rate is very high because people prepare very good for this exam. They put in a lot of effort and they give multiple assessments before going for the real deal. So we will talk about those assessments as well. Now coming to the syllabus. The syllabus, the contents of this exam, USMLE Step 1, are available on USMLE website, and I will share it as well. Here is a rough overview of the disciplines and systems that are tested in this exam. And this is again a screenshot from USMLE Step 1, a first aid book. You can see the different disciplines. Out of all the disciplines, pathology is the most heavily tested, the frequently tested one, around 44 to 52%. And then you've got physiology, pharmacology, microbiology, immunology, anatomy, histology, and if you talk about systems, you've got your CNS, your cardiovascular system, your respiratory system, your renal system, so your psychiatry. So these are the different systems that you're going to be tested. Now talking about the resources that you're going to be needing for this exam. So you'll be needing first aid, Uworld. We'll talk about these individually in the later slides. You're going to be needing Performa for pathology. You can use either Sketchy or Micro for pharmacology, and you can either use Sketchy or Kaplan for pharmacology. Both are very good sources. And for biostatistics, genetics, and biochemistry, you can use Randy Neal videos, which are available on Randy Neal YouTube channel. I'll share the link for that as well. And people also use Lippincott for biochemistry. I used Lippincott for biochemistry. It is a lengthy book, but it is USMLE oriented, and it is a very, very good book. So there are also other sources for biochemistry. People also recommend Dirty Medicine, and so these are things about the resources. We'll discuss them later. Moving ahead with video lectures. You see, first aid, the book is going to be your mainstream book. You're going to be following that book, and you cannot read that book directly because it is very compact and concise. The things are like very, very short and they're not explained that well. So you need to watch video lectures along with your first aid to understand it. There are different video lectures available. There is boot camp, there is boards and beyond, and there is USMLE RX. So it is a completely subjective matter. You can use whichever you like. All of them are very good, and you can video lectures. You see, first aid, the book is going to be your mainstream book. You're going to be following that book, and you cannot read that book directly because it is very compact and concise. The things are like very, very short and they're not explained that well. So you need to watch video lectures along with your first aid to understand it. There are different video lectures available. There is boot camp, there is boards and beyond, and there is USMLE RX. So it is a completely subjective matter. You can use whichever you like. All of them are very good, and you can watch all these videos. Their sample videos are available on YouTube. You can try those videos, and you can then select the one that you like the most. Here I personally used Bootcamp, and I found it very, very good. And here is the subscription plan for Bootcamp. You can see the plans. I'll share the screenshot as well. Now moving ahead with first aid. First aid, as I said, is going to be your mainstream book, and it is a very, very good book. It is very it completes a lot of topics, and it is divided into basics and systems. So talking of the basics, here again is a screenshot from the book. You have got biochemistry, immunology, microbiology, pathology, pharmacology. You see, you've got ethics, public health sciences. So this is the basic part, and then the second part of this book consists of systems. you know, your CVS, your CNS, all the systems that I just named. So now talking about Uworld. Uworld is actually a company which makes very good MCQs for step 1, for step 3, for step 2, and many other exams as well. So what we do, and Uworld is a very crucial component of USMLE preparation. Like USMLE step 1 or step 2 preparation is incomplete without Uworld. And the Uworld consists of around about 4,000 MCQs, 4,000 questions, with their explanations and supplemented with very good pictures, tables, and you get to see different videos as well. So it is a very important component of USMLE Step 1 preparation. And if you go to Uworld website, and I'll share the link as well, you'll see that there's a free demo as well for Uworld, how to use Uworld, and how to make notes on it, how to make flashcards on it. So you can go try that as well. And one more thing, Uworld also gives you live statistics of your performance and compares you with other members, other participants from around the world who are using Uworld. So you get to see your weaknesses and the subjects where you need to focus. So you'll get the idea once you use the demo. Moving ahead, here I've shared the subscription plans for Uworld as well. I recommend that you should buy at least a 1-year subscription plan, because I personally think that you don't know about time, you don't know about your future, things go wrong about your health, about your family. So you need to have some spare time, that safe window for your Uworld. Because I bought the 6-month subscription, and my friends, a few of them also bought the 6-month subscription. I was able to finish my Uworld within 3 or 4 months, but my friends were not able to. So it's a subjective thing. Some people do it fast, quickly, and some aren't. So I think a 1-year subscription is a safe approach. So moving ahead, the next source is Pathoma. Pathoma is a very good source for understanding pathology. The author of this book is Pathoma. So you have to take care of that. Now, how and when to start and where to start the preparation. As I said, that first aid, USMLE Step 1 first aid is going to be your mainstream book, and it is divided into basics and systems. So you'll have to start both of these in parallel. You'll start one thing in the basics and one thing in the systems. And about the systems, I want to share that there are a few small systems in first aid, and few of them are very large. They're huge. The small systems which I recommend you should start with are endocrine system, renal system, and respiratory system. These are the smallest 3 systems of first aid, and you can start with any of them. And for the basics, I recommend that you should start with general pathology, and then you do immunology, and after that you can follow your own sequence, whatever you like. The reason that I am recommending general pathology and immunology to start with is because the concepts of general pathology and immunology are heavily integrated into the systems. So you would better be able to understand those systems once you are done with these basics, especially the general pathology and immunology. Now, how are you gonna do? You're gonna open your first aid, and you're gonna play the lectures. You're gonna watch the video lectures that you like, as we've gone through the different video lectures or resources that you're gonna be using. So you take the lecture and you listen to it, and you read first aid along with it, and you can write the extra stuff that you get in the lecture on your first aid. So this is how you're gonna start with your first system. You're gonna complete the video lectures, you're gonna complete reading the first aid, and following the same approach, you have to finish around 4 systems. 3 of the systems which are the small ones, and 1 other system. And only after that you're gonna buy Uworld. What people do is that they buy Uworld and they activate it, and then they start studying for their systems. And in order to do 4 systems and 2 basics, they spend around 1 to 2 months in that, and that 1 to 2 month period gets wasted. 1 to 2 month period get wasted in terms of Uworld I'm talking about, because Uworld is a limited subscription, either 6 months or 1 year. So I recommend that you first get done with around 4 systems that I just named, and some parts of the basics, especially the general pathology and immunology, before you start doing the Uworld. The reason is, the first reason, as I said, you're gonna save your time of Uworld, and second reason is that you cannot start doing Uworld just after doing 1 system, because let me give you an example. Let's suppose that you have done cardiovascular system, and there is this, you start doing Uworld and you get a question that a patient of myocardial infarction got admitted to the hospital, and what would you find in the biopsy of this patient after 1 to 3 days of myocardial infarction, and what inflammatory cells would you be seeing? Now those inflammatory cells, these concepts are discussed in general pathology. Okay, so the question is actually asking you about neutrophils. So neutrophils is something which you're going to be reading in general pathology. That is why I recommend people to do at least 4 systems and some basics before you start doing Uworld, because with only 1 system, then if you start Uworld, you'll be getting a lot of questions wrong. Similarly, Uworld also likes to integrate systems with systems. The cardiovascular system can be easily integrated with renal system, with respiratory system. Similarly, the Uworld also likes to integrate systems with the basics. As I said, different diseases of cardiovascular system are related with biochemistry. For example, you can get a question of aortic regurgitation or aortic aneurysm, and you also get the disease in patients with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome or other connective tissue disorders, which are present in the basic part of first aid. So you see what I'm trying to say? So now talking about this, you're going to follow this approach until you're done with all of your first aid and your video lectures. And once you're done with the 4 systems and the stuff that I just said you need to do initially, then you can start your online Uworld. Now talking about NBMEs and UAS. NBME stands for National Board of Medical Examiners, and UAS stands for Uworld Self-Assessments. These are actually mock exam which give you an idea and a very, very near to reality and close idea of your chances of passing the real exam. So you take these NBMEs, as I said, the National Board of Medical Examiners make these assessments, these exams, and so does Uworld. So even you buy different subscriptions of Uworld, in some of the subscriptions you can also get the Uworld self-assessment. You can also buy Uworld self-assessment individually without the question bank, and you can also buy the NBMEs, the assessments of NBMEs from their website. So when to take these assessments? When you are done with around 60 to 70% of your Uworld, or around 80% of all of your first aid, then I think you can take your first Uworld self-assessment or your NBME to get an idea where you are standing. And the other reason that you take these NBMEs and Uworld self-assessments is that you get an idea that when will you be booking the exam. So if you are getting around 60% or 70%, near 70% score is ideal and safe. If you're getting around 65 or 70% score in your first NBME, then you should book your exam. Okay, we'll also talk about how to book and things related to that. Now, when to take the exam. Once you've booked the exam, you actually book a 3-month period in which you take the exam, and in that 3-month period you can choose your date. Now, once you're getting around 70%, at least 70% or above the score in 3 of your consecutive NBMEs, then you're ready for the exam. So here I've also shared some statistics that people who were getting 70% scores in 3 of their consecutive NBMEs, 95% of them passed the exam. And people who were getting 75% or above score in their 3 consecutive NBMEs right before the exam, around 99% of them passed the exam. So these are the statistics. And so this is how you take the exam. This is how you're gonna decide whether you're ready for the exam or not. Now, how to book the exam? There are 3 simple steps. You first go to ECFMG ID and you make ECFMG website and you make an ECFMG ID. Then you submit the form 186, and then which is actually your registration form. You get registered with ECFMG, and then there is form 183, which is actually the step 1 booking form. So there is a YouTube channel called No Memorization. You can visit that channel, and there you will find the complete details, the step-by-step procedure of applying and registering for this exam. I'll share the link for that as well. Now, as I said, what is a triad? Triad is actually that 3-month window, the 3-month period in which you intend to take the exam. When you're filling your form 183, the ECFMG website is going to give you options to choose the 3-month period in which you want to take the exam, and you have to book this period 45 days prior of the period. For example, if this is April, then the triad that you're going to be choosing should be starting in around mid of May or start of June. So the triads go like this: June, July, August, September, okay, August, September, October. So triads of the whole year, for example, now it's 2024, are going to be available on the website of ECFMG. And next, moving ahead with Prometric. What is Prometric? Prometric is another company which actually deals with the exam centers in different parts of the world. Either it's Pakistan, India, Nepal, Bangladesh, you see. So this company arranges all of the material, the equipment that is required to take this exam. As I showed you the exam center, let me show it again in here. So all of this arrangements and the systems, this is arranged by Prometric, and Prometric is also the company on which you go and you book your triad. You select your where you book your date, where you select your date. So there are some other things about Prometric I would like to share. There is something called Prometric ID, okay? And for step 1, step 2 and OET, there are also other international exams which are conducted in the Prometric centers. Prometric also has a website. You can go and visit that website. Now about Prometric ID, once you are done with the registration process, the booking process of step 1, ECFMG will send you a unique number that is called Prometric ID. And what you do is that you enter this Prometric number, the Prometric ID, onto the Prometric website, and then you can choose the date in that specific triad that you chose. Okay. Now, talking about the expenses. Now here I've compiled only the basic expenses. There can be add-ons which are subjective, from individual to individual they can vary, but the basic expenses include ECFMG Form 186 fee, which is $160, Step 1 exam fee, which is the basic fee is $1,000, and an additional $195 for those people who would be taking exam outside USA and Canada. The candidates who would be taking exam in USA or Canada are not charged this additional $195. Okay, so people like us who are taking the exam from India, from Bangladesh, from Pakistan, from Nepal, and other countries other than USA and Canada have to pay this additional $195. Then there's Uworld subscription. For 1 year, it's around $560. So the total base amount, excluding the taxes, is around $1,914, around $2,000. So my final word for USMLE Step 1 preparation is that practice is the key. The more you practice Uworld or the questions, the more thoroughly you go through them, all of your choices, the wrongs, the rights, and the more easier your exam will be. Okay, so it all depends on the practice and the time you spend doing Uworld and revisions. Do them again and again so that the concepts are integrated and they're inculcated. Inculcated in your brain. And second important thing during this USMLE Step 1 journey is motivation. Keep yourself motivated. There are gonna be times during the preparation when you're gonna think that you're gonna be depressed, that how am I gonna pass exam? Including me, I used to think like, how is this all gonna occur? And even 5 days before the exam, I was very stressed that whether am I gonna pass this exam or not. So keep yourself motivated. Surround yourself with good company, with your good friends who keep you motivated. Talk about this exam with your family and the people who you're closer to. And talking about study partner, I see on forums people looking for study partners, and they mention the time and the time zone and the country and the language and all of that. Personally, I think if you've already got a study partner from your medical school or from your college or a friend, then I think it's okay. But looking for a study partner on Facebook forums, I don't know how people get synchronized with a complete stranger person who you don't know, who maybe even belongs to another country, and I think you get dependent on that person and your progress gets hooked with that person. So I recommend that you better choose a study partner among your class or someone with whom you've been studying for a long time. So this was all about the USMLE guidance, Step 1 guidance. If you have any questions, any queries, you have my contact, or you have my, I also share the link for my Facebook profile. You can ask me anytime, anything. Thank you very much for your attention and good luck.